There are places on earth where time lingers, where silence carries the weight of forgotten kingdoms, and the wind seems to whisper the memories of ages long gone. The Dead Sea is one of those places. Nestled deep within the heart of the Jordan Rift Valley, it rests like a vast sheet of mirrored glass, its waters calm, heavy, and ancient, as if they have been holding their breath for thousands of years. Here, the horizon feels wider, the sunlight harsher, and the stillness almost supernatural. This is a sea that does not move, a sea without waves or tides. Yet beneath that quiet surface lies a story older than civilization itself, a story carved by the restless earth, shaped by prophets and kings, and preserved in salt and stone. The Dead Sea has witnessed the rise of empires, Babylonian armies marching across deserts, Roman fortresses standing against rebellion, Nabatean traders guiding caravans of incense and copper. It has seen holy men wander its shores in search of revelation. And it has held secrets that would one day be found in caves overlooking its waters, the ancient Dead Sea Scrolls. But for all its sacred history, the Dead Sea is also a marvel of nature, a world of extremes where life bends but does not break, where minerals sculpt strange landscapes, and where the air itself feels different, heavier, cleaner, almost enchanted. This is not merely a body of water. It is a living memory, a silent witness, a sea that remembers. To understand the Dead Sea, one must first understand the ground beneath it, a landscape carved by fire, pressure, and the slow tearing of the Earth's crust. The Dead Sea lies within the Jordan Rift Valley, a deep scar running from northern Syria down through the Red Sea and into eastern Africa. This enormous fracture, part of the greater Great Rift System, was formed millions of years ago when tectonic forces began pulling two massive plates apart. As the Arabian Plate drifted away from the African Plate, enormous blocks of land collapsed between them, creating a long, sunken basin. Over countless millennia, this depression filled with water from the Jordan River, mountain runoff, and ancient rains. What existed then was not the Dead Sea as we know it, but a vast prehistoric body of water known as Lake Lisan, a lake far larger and deeper than today's salty remnant. When the Ice Age came to an end, global temperatures rose, rainfall declined, water evaporated, and Lake Lisan slowly withdrew into the basin's lowest point. As it receded, it left behind thick layers of salt, gypsum, and clay, materials now exposed in cliffs and sediments throughout the region. These ancient deposits are geological fingerprints, evidence of a lake that grew and shrank many times as the climate shifted. Today, the Dead Sea stretches roughly 50 kilometers long and up to 15 kilometers wide, though these dimensions shrink each year as water levels continue to fall. It is famously located at the lowest point on Earth's surface, sitting more than 430 meters below sea level. This extreme depression is so deep that the surrounding mountains, moderate in height by global standards, seem towering and dramatic when viewed from the shoreline. The sea itself consists of two main basins. The Northern Basin. This is the true Dead Sea, the deep, dense body of hypersaline water that still survives in its natural form. It plunges to depths of nearly 300 meters, forming a stratified water column where the lower layers have been undisturbed for centuries. The Southern Basin. Once part of a single continuous lake, the Southern Basin is now mostly dry due to reduced inflow. Today, it is dominated by vast evaporation pools used for extracting minerals such as potassium, magnesium, and bromine. These industrial operations contribute to the region's economic output, but also accelerate water loss. Surrounding the Dead Sea are landscapes of breathtaking geological character. To the east, the rugged Moab Mountains rise sharply, displaying layers of sandstone and granite shaped by ancient uplift. To the west, the Judean desert unfolds in a series of limestone cliffs and deep canyons, including the famous Qumran caves. To the south, Strange salt formations twist into pillars and ridges, including the legendary Lot's Wife salt column. This dramatic environment is not merely scenery, it is a geological record of the Earth's shifting history. The Dead Sea remains one of the most scientifically valuable natural sites on the planet. Its sediments store a climate archive spanning hundreds of thousands of years. Its tectonic setting reveals the mechanisms of continental drift. And its very existence illustrates the delicate balance between water, climate, and the restless bones of the Earth. The Dead Sea lies within a world shaped by extremes, a land where the sun reigns with unbroken authority, where rain is rare, and where the boundaries between earth and sky blur in shimmering waves of heat. Its climate is classified as hyper-arid, one of the driest on the planet, a defining force that has shaped the sea's character for thousands of years. Throughout most of the year, the region experiences intense sunlight, with summer temperatures often soaring above 40 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Fahrenheit. In this furnace-like heat, the Dead Sea loses enormous volumes of water to evaporation, far more than the Jordan River and seasonal streams can replenish. The air itself feels different here. Thicker, heavier, and enriched with minerals evaporating from the sea's surface. Visitors often describe a gentle pressure in the atmosphere, a sensation that comes from being more than 430 meters below sea level. This additional air density filters harmful ultraviolet radiation, creating a natural protective effect that has long been considered therapeutic. Rain is a rare visitor. Some years pass with barely a few dozen millimeters of precipitation, falling mostly during the winter months. When storms do arrive, usually sweeping in from the Mediterranean, they unleash sudden bursts of rain that carve deep channels into the desert, creating temporary cascades that rush toward the sea. These rare floods reshape the landscape, cutting new wadis and depositing fresh sediment along the shoreline. The Dead Sea's natural characteristics are unlike those of any other body of water. With a salinity exceeding 34%, nearly 10 times that of most oceans, its waters are thick, dense, and strangely resistant. Swimming becomes impossible. Instead, people float effortlessly, suspended on the surface like cork. This buoyancy is a result of the water's extraordinary mineral concentration, which also prevents the existence of fish, plants, or aquatic life, hence its name, the Dead Sea. Yet the waters are far from lifeless. Beneath the still surface, invisible processes are constantly unfolding. Layers of saline water form a stratified system, with deeper layers largely cut off from the upper ones. Tiny microbial life, adapted to extreme salinity, survives in select areas, particularly where freshwater springs seep into the sea. Around the shoreline, salt is not merely a substance but a sculptor. It forms crystals along rocks, coats branches of fallen shrubs, and accumulates in thick white crusts that crack underfoot. In some areas, bizarre salt formations rise like frozen waves, creating otherworldly landscapes shaped by evaporation and mineral deposits. The climate here is not simply harsh, it is an architect. It defines the Dead Sea, sustains its unique properties, and preserves its ancient silence. It is a landscape where nature speaks in extremes, and where every grain of salt tells a story written by sun, wind, and time. The Dead Sea's most defining characteristic, its extraordinary chemical composition, sets it apart not only from the world's oceans, but from all other saline lakes on Earth. Its waters are a dense, mineral-rich solution where evaporation far surpasses inflow, concentrating salts to levels that create one of the most extreme aquatic environments known to science. Typical seawater is dominated by sodium chloride, the same salt found on dining tables. But the Dead Sea's chemistry is uniquely different. While sodium chloride is still abundant, the water is far richer in other minerals, especially magnesium, calcium, potassium, and bromine. These elements exist in concentrations so high that they fundamentally alter the behavior of the water itself. Magnesium chloride in particular makes up a significant portion of the mineral content. It contributes to the water's oily texture, a sensation visitors often describe when they rub the water between their fingers. Potassium salts give the sea a slightly bitter taste, though few would dare to sample it. Bromide ions, found in concentrations unmatched anywhere else, influence both the water's density and its therapeutic reputation. This mineral cocktail results in a salinity level of around 34 to 35%, nearly 10 times the salinity of the world's oceans. At such high concentrations, the water becomes so dense that it increases human buoyancy dramatically. A person cannot sink. The body naturally rises to the surface, making the Dead Sea the most effortless flotation pool on Earth. The high mineral concentration also creates a stunning optical effect. Sunlight interacts with the dense waters to produce a deep, shimmering blue, while near the shoreline, salt deposits refract light into crystal-like patterns. Under certain conditions, thin layers of fresh water from winter floods glide over the heavier brine, producing mirror-like reflections that seem almost surreal. The same chemistry that produces these visual wonders also creates a harsh environment for life. Most organisms cannot survive in such salinity. Fish perish within moments, and aquatic plants cannot establish themselves. Only specialized microorganisms, halophiles, thrive in select niches, their existence a testament to nature's resilience in the face of extremes. Another fascinating property lies in the Dead Sea's mineral-rich mud, a dark, silky sediment found along the shoreline. This mud is infused with magnesium, calcium, and sulfides, long believed to offer therapeutic benefits for skin and joint conditions. For centuries, travelers, from Roman nobles to modern tourists, have come to coat themselves in this mineral mud and bathe in the warm, buoyant waters. The unique chemical structure also affects the evaporation pools in the southern basin. As water evaporates, minerals crystallize in predictable sequences. First calcium salts, then sodium chloride, and finally potassium and magnesium compounds. This natural separation allows industries to harvest valuable minerals used in agriculture, medicine, and manufacturing. Despite its lifeless waters, the Dead Sea is chemically vibrant, a dynamic, ever-changing system shaped by evaporation, mineral influx, and geological processes. Its composition tells a story of ancient climates, shifting landscapes, and the delicate balance between water and salt. It is a place where chemistry becomes visible, where minerals sculpt landscapes, and where the very water itself feels like something from another world. Although the Dead Sea itself is devoid of fish, plants, and visible aquatic life, the region surrounding it supports a surprisingly rich and resilient ecosystem, one shaped by adaptation, endurance, and the delicate balance between desert and oasis. Here, life survives not by resisting harsh conditions, but by learning to live with them. Along the shoreline, where salt concentrations are extreme, vegetation is scarce. The ground is crusted with white mineral layers, and only a few hardy species can withstand such intense salinity. Among these are atriplex shrubs, halophytic plants capable of drawing salt away into specialized leaves, and saltbush varieties that thrive where most vegetation cannot. These tough species form small, scattered patches of green, bringing subtle hints of life to a landscape otherwise dominated by stone, sand, and salt. Further from the immediate shore, freshwater springs, small pockets of flowing life, break free from the desert floor. Around these springs grow clusters of tamarisk trees, acacia, and date palms, creating micro-oases where animals gather. Here, the contrast is dramatic. A few meters can separate barren salt fields from lush patches of greenery. These springs and wadis support a diverse array of wildlife. Among the most iconic animals are the Nubian ibex, agile mountain goats that scale steep cliffs with effortless grace. Their presence along the rocky ridges of Ein Gedi and the Judean desert has made them symbols of the region's ability to endure. Bird life is particularly abundant. The Dead Sea sits along the Great Rift Valley Flyway, one of the world's most important migration routes. Each year, millions of birds, storks, pelicans, eagles, falcons, and songbirds pass overhead as they travel between Europe, Asia, and Africa. For many migrating species, the freshwater pockets near the Dead Sea serve as vital resting points. Reptiles, adapted to the desert's heat, are common. Geckos, agamas, and small snakes navigate the hot rocks and shadows. Insects, too, have mastered this environment. Beetles and ants forage for scarce resources while bees gather nectar from desert blooms after rare rainfalls. While the Dead Sea itself appears lifeless, its fringes pulse subtly with life that has learned to coexist with one of Earth's most extreme environments. The contrast between barren salt flats and thriving oases creates a remarkable ecological mosaic, an enduring reminder that even in the harshest landscapes, life finds a way. Few places on Earth carry as much cultural weight, historical depth, and spiritual resonance as the Dead Sea. For thousands of years, its shores have been a crossroads of civilizations, a refuge for prophets, a battleground for empires, and a cradle of faith. In its silence, countless stories have unfolded, stories that have shaped religions, cultures, and the very course of human history. The earliest known references to the region appear in ancient Mesopotamian and Canaanite records, where the Dead Sea was recognized as both a boundary and a source of valuable resources. The area's salt, bitumen, and minerals were essential commodities in the ancient world. Bitumen extracted from the Dead Sea, for example, was used by the Egyptians in their mummification rituals, making the lake an important trade resource for millennia. In the Bible, the Dead Sea is woven deeply into narratives of judgment, refuge, and revelation. The most famous of these is the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, cities said to have existed on its southern plains before being destroyed in a divine act. The salt formations in the southern basin, especially the pillar known as Lot's Wife, are often associated with this story, blending geology and mythology in a landscape where the line between history and legend blurs. To the west, perched high above the shoreline, stand the ruins of Masada, one of Israel's most iconic archaeological sites. This mountaintop fortress became the last stronghold of Jewish rebels resisting Roman rule in the 1st century CE. The dramatic siege and subsequent mass resistance have immortalized Masada as a symbol of perseverance and sacrifice. The Dead Sea's silent waters watched it all unfold. Equally profound is the region's connection to spiritual scholarship. In 1947, Bedouin shepherds discovered ancient scrolls hidden in the Qumran caves, overlooking the Dead Sea's northwest shore. These texts, now known as the Dead Sea Scrolls, include some of the oldest biblical manuscripts ever found. They offer unparalleled insights into early Judaism, the development of biblical texts, and the cultural landscape during the time of Jesus. For early Christian hermits and monks, the Dead Sea's wilderness offered the solitude they sought. Caves carved into cliffs became sanctuaries where religious devotion deepened. The desert's silence, broken only by wind and shifting sand, became a canvas for spiritual reflection. Across the sea, the mountains of Jordan hold their own sacred significance. Near the eastern shore lies Mount Nebo, where tradition says Moses gazed upon the promised land before his death. From its summit, the view stretches across the Jordan Valley toward the Dead Sea, an eternal panorama connecting scripture, geography, and memory. Historically, the region was also a crucial stop along ancient trade routes. Nabatean caravans carried incense and spices from Arabia to the Mediterranean, passing near the Dead Sea on their way to Petra and beyond. Roman engineers later developed roads, fortresses, and aqueducts around the lake, recognizing its economic and strategic value. In more recent centuries, explorers, pilgrims, and scientists have continued to flock to the area. From Greek geographers to Ottoman cartographers to modern researchers, the Dead Sea has captivated minds with its mysteries, its extreme salinity, its medicinal mud, and the strange calm of its waters. To many today, the Dead Sea remains a place of healing. Its mineral-rich waters and therapeutic climate have given rise to spas, retreats, and wellness traditions stretching back to the time of Herod the Great, who built palaces and baths near its shores. Culturally and spiritually, the Dead Sea is more than a body of water. It is a sacred archive, a place where stories of human struggle, divine encounter, and ancient legacy converge. It stands as a silent witness to faiths that shaped civilizations, to battles fought and lost, and to the enduring human search for meaning in the mysteries of nature and time. For centuries, the Dead Sea has captivated scholars, mystics, and explorers alike. But in the modern era, it has become a living laboratory, an open-air research station where scientists investigate geology, climate history, microbiology, and human heritage. Its extreme environment, ancient sediments, and unique chemistry have turned it into one of the most studied natural sites in the Middle East. One of the most important lines of research focuses on paleoclimatology, the study of ancient climates. Drilling deep beneath the seabed, scientists have extracted long, cylindrical cores of sediment, each layer a page in Earth's environmental history. These cores reveal cycles of drought and rainfall stretching back hundreds of thousands of years, offering crucial insights into how the region's climate changed during past ice ages and how it may shift in the future. The Dead Sea's sediments act as a natural archive, preserving minerals, pollen grains, and chemical signatures that help reconstruct ancient weather patterns. Equally fascinating are the studies of the Dead Sea's microbial life. For decades, the sea was believed to be completely sterile due to its extreme salinity. But research has uncovered hardy microorganisms, halophilic bacteria and archaea, that thrive in conditions once thought inhospitable. Their survival strategies shed light on biochemical adaptation and even offer clues for astrobiology. The Dead Sea has become a model environment for studying how life might endure on other planets, especially Mars. Beyond biology, researchers also investigate the ongoing tectonic activity of the region. Because the Dead Sea sits along a major fault line, geologists closely monitor seismic shifts and ground deformation. This helps scientists better understand the behavior of the Jordan Rift Valley and anticipate potential earthquakes. The area's unique geomechanical conditions also make it ideal for studying salt deformation and sinkhole formation, phenomena that have increased significantly in recent decades. Archaeologists, too, are deeply drawn to the region. The cliffs surrounding the Dead Sea hide caves that once sheltered ancient scrolls, pottery, and human remains. Perhaps the most famous discovery, the Dead Sea Scrolls, transformed our understanding of Jewish history and early religious tradition. Explorations continue to uncover remnants of long-lost settlements, fortresses, and trade routes, proving that life once flourished even in this harsh landscape. Today, advanced technologies, satellite imaging, ground-penetrating radar, drone mapping, allow researchers to document changes with remarkable accuracy. These tools help scientists track water recession, monitor mineral harvesting operations, and analyze geological faults. Together, these studies paint a detailed portrait of a region where nature, history, and time intersect. In every field, geology, biology, archaeology, climate science, the Dead Sea remains a beacon of discovery. It is more than a body of water. It is a gateway into Earth's deep past, a window into humanity's ancient footsteps, and a frontier of scientific exploration that continues to reveal new secrets with every passing year. Despite its ancient resilience, the Dead Sea faces a crisis unlike any in its long geological lifetime. Over the past 5 decades, its water level has been dropping at an alarming rate, nearly 1 meter per year. What was once a vast inland sea is rapidly shrinking, leaving behind salt flats, collapsing shorelines, and unstable terrain. The causes of this decline are deeply intertwined with human activity and regional climate pressures. The primary challenge is the reduction of freshwater inflow, especially from the Jordan River. Once the Dead Sea's main lifeline, the river is now heavily diverted for agriculture, domestic use, and industrial purposes. With little water reaching the basin, evaporation, accelerated by the region's extreme heat, surpasses inflow, causing the sea to retreat year after year. Another significant challenge comes from mineral extraction industries operating in the southern basin. These companies pump large volumes of dead seawater into evaporation ponds to harvest valuable minerals like potassium and bromine. While economically important, these activities contribute to the rapid loss of water and further destabilize the environment. One of the most dramatic consequences of the shrinking sea is the formation of sinkholes. As fresh water from underground springs dissolves buried salt layers, the ground collapses unexpectedly, creating massive craters that swallow roads, fields, and even buildings. Hundreds of sinkholes now scar the coastline, posing threats to infrastructure, tourism, and local communities. In response, countries and organizations have launched several conservation efforts. The most ambitious proposal is the Red Sea Dead Seawater Conveyance Project, often called the Two Seas Canal. This plan aims to pump water from the Red Sea northward to replenish the Dead Sea while generating hydropower and desalinated water for surrounding regions. Though still debated and not yet fully implemented, it represents a bold attempt at long-term stabilization. Local governments and environmental groups are also working to rehabilitate the Jordan River, reduce water extraction, and promote sustainable tourism. Scientific monitoring programs track the sea's decline, providing data crucial for policy decisions. Awareness campaigns emphasize the need to protect this irreplaceable natural and historical treasure before it is too late. The fate of the Dead Sea is not yet sealed, but its future depends on cooperation, innovation, and a clear recognition of its value, not only as a geological wonder, but as a cradle of cultural heritage and scientific legacy. The sea that remembers now asks humanity to remember it in return. The Dead Sea is more than the lowest place on Earth. It is a mirror reflecting the rise and fall of worlds, the shifting breath of climates, and the enduring touch of human history. Its still waters hold stories carved in salt and silence, reminders of prophets, empires, and the restless earth beneath our feet. As its shores retreat and its future hangs in fragile balance, the Dead Sea calls upon us to listen, to remember. For in its shimmering surface, we do not just see a dying sea. We see the delicate passage of time and our responsibility to protect it.